Spend the weekend with us as we explore the Kruger National Park from the Palabura Gate to the Punda Maria Gate. Let's go. We drove to Palabura on a Thursday, spent the night at a hotel located right close to the Palabura Gate entrance so that we can start our weekend nice and early on the Friday. Though we were a bit tired from the drive from Thohoyandou to Palabura, we could not resist the aesthetics of this restaurant. I really wanted to have dinner here with my husband, and it was fulfilling. I really want to try out this restaurant again during the day. We got our much needed rest, and it was now time to start our weekend in the park. The initial plan was to go into the park through the Punda Maria Gate because it is the gate closest to us, and we also want to do this trip from north to south, but that is not how things happened. We wanted to spend Friday night in Shingwedzi, Saturday night in Mopani, and out through the Palabura Gate on Sunday. But we ended up having to spend Friday night in Mopani and Saturday night in Shingwedzi and out through the Punda Maria Gate on a Sunday. A few minutes after 6 in the morning, we were in the park and we started our drive up north. I'm sure by now you know I love the African sunrise, but unfortunately on this day, that's all we got to see on the first hour in the park. The Sable Dam sleepover hide. Unfortunately for this one, you need to have made a booking to sleep there for you to have access. We had been driving for so long without any actual game sighting, not even an impala, and I was just hoping I would get to see something exciting like a cheetah or a leopard at the Masorini archaeological site. A few birds on the way before our very first sighting of the day. And this was not just a common sighting, but it was one of the big five. And we all know that this one hardly goes by alone. It wasn't before long that we got to meet the family. If you want to see people, you usually go to the malls or shopping centers. And in the park, if you want to see something, anything, you need to go to the waterholes because you will definitely see a few hippos, a few animals coming down to drink, or some beautiful birds. Now I know what you're thinking, that this girl needs a camera. I know, and I am working on it. So we will have a camera in this channel very soon. Now let's move on to our next sighting of the day. This beautiful elephant with her young. Now I can finally say, welcome to the Kruger National Park, because what is this park without elephants? I'm kidding, guys. They are just my favorite and I love them, but there's more to see in the park. And just like that, with just 2 game sightings in the bag, we had arrived at Letaba. And this is one of the camps that I've seen in the park that actually has a swimming pool for day visitors. They also have a very clean picnic spot, ablution blocks, and this boardwalk that leads to the main camp where you will find the park shop, the restaurant, and the elephant museum. We checked out the park shop, which has everything and anything you might need, before heading out to what I was really looking forward to, the elephant museum. If I had to show you guys all the videos and pictures I took in this museum, I would not be doing justice, but I can guarantee you a good time in this museum. And not only a good time, but you get to learn a lot about elephants. I loved the idea of the skull room, because if you're not big on elephants, at least there's something for you too. You can go hide away and get to read and learn about all other animals that you might find in the park. The other side of the museum is dedicated to the former Tuskers of the park. This is one small hall with a lot of information, and I think we spent almost 2 hours reading and learning about all the beautiful animals, the former Tuskers, and the history of poachers and hunters in the park. It was really interesting. To say I enjoyed being in this museum is an understatement, because I walked out a different person. From learning about the former Tuskers, how they were named, how they died, and all their different stories in the park, it was a life-changing experience. But we had to move and see more in the park. It was such a quiet and gloomy winter day in the park, and we are now moving towards Olifants for brunch. The drive from Letaba to Olifants was quite long because we did not see much on the way, but we were so excited to finally arrive and have something to eat. This was the most beautiful restaurant I have seen in the park, and to top it all up, the views from this restaurant, amazing. My husband decided to catch up on some work, and that was the perfect opportunity for me to take a walk around the restaurant. After brunch, we were now headed to Mopani to check in and get some rest. But it was also a very rewarding drive from Olifants to Mopani because we got a lot of game sightings. Just a few kilometers away from the Letaba bridge, I think I just saw one of the current Tuskers. Remember what I said about water holes, water dams, or whatever water source that you might find in the park? Just look at that. So we enjoyed all of this while we waited for that one elephant to come prove that it was indeed a Tusker. There he is, coming down to drink, finally. I swear there's something special about that elephant. And if he's not one of the current Tuskers, I guess I just discovered one. This was one of the best sightings of the day. And notice how all the other elephants gave this one, that I believe is a Tusker, some space to drink. There is definitely something going on here, and I am here for it. Unfortunately, we were still quite far from Mopani, and we had to start moving again so we can go check in, get some rest before going out on our afternoon drive. We have arrived. This is where we'll be spending the night, and after checking in, we went straight to our chalet to get some rest before heading out on our afternoon drive. After a much needed nap, we went down to the lookout at the restaurant to see if there's anything interesting before heading out of camp. In this park, the animals make the rules, and when they decide it is time for a roadblock, we wait. During this time of the day, you often see animals crossing the road going back to their homes after spending the day out in the wild looking for food and water. It was now time to go back to camp, and though we did not get to see much, we are grateful and we hope tomorrow will be better. Now let's go make dinner and get some rest. On our first night, we decided to have creamy chicken pasta. Now let's talk about today. We drove into the park as early as we could. We paid attention to everything that was happening around us, and we drove slow. But being in the park today was just a reminder that we have very little control of what we get to see. But we're grateful for the experience, and we hope tomorrow will be better. Now, before you move on, please make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Good night.